Hi everyone, I'm Satomi and I run hands-on bread baking class here in Tokyo. Today I'll be sharing how to make salt butter bread. Salt bread roll has recently become a big trend all around the world. So I thought why not combine the rich buttery flavor with soft and fluffy shokupan, and that's how I came up with this recipe. Let's get started. First, let's prepare a few things. Mix milk and water together to adjust the temperature. Our target dough temperature after kneading is 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is about 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now, it's spring in Japan, and my kitchen is around 22 degrees, which is about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So today, I'm using a little warm liquid about 32 degrees. That is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Controlling the dough temperature helps the yeast work more efficiently and makes fermentation more stable and predictable. For more detailed tips about adjusting liquid temperature, please check the description box below. Next, prepare the butter for filling. Cut salted butter into about 1 cm cubes. From these, set aside about 6 to 7 pieces for topping and keep them in the fridge until needed. Lastly, bring the butter for the dough to room temperature. Now that everything is ready, let's start mixing. Add bread flour into the bowl of your stand mixer. I recommend using a flour with around 12 to 13% protein to achieve soft and fluffy texture. Add sugar. I'm using cane sugar, but regular granulated sugar works just fine. Then add salt, followed by instant dry yeast. Lightly mix all the dry ingredients with a spatula so they absorb the liquid evenly later. Now pour the water and milk into the dry ingredients. Gently mix everything together. At this stage, it's completely fine if there are still some dry spots. Attach the dough hook and start kneading on low speed. If you're using a KitchenAid, there will be speed too. Once there's no dry spots, increase to medium speed around speed 4 and knead for about 10 minutes. At the beginning, the dough may stick to the bottom of the bowl, which is totally normal. Try not to add extra flour unless the dough looks too wet. As gluten develops, the dough will naturally come together. After about 10 minutes, the dough should become more elastic and stretchy. Add the softened butter. When making soft bread, we usually add butter after gluten has started forming, because fat can interfere with gluten development and yeast activity. Continue kneading on medium speed for another 12 to 15 minutes until the dough becomes smooth and elastic. Right after adding the butter, the dough may feel sticky again, but keep kneading and it will gradually become smooth. Now let's check the gluten development with the window pane test. Take a small piece of dough and stretch it gently. If it forms a thin translucent membrane without tearing, it's ready. If it tears easily, knead a little longer and test again. Next, we'll strengthen the dough using the slam and fold method. Lift the dough from one side, gently slam it onto your work surface, then fold it over. As you drop the dough, slightly pull it towards yourself to stretch it before folding. This motion helps build a strong gluten structure, which allows the dough to hold gas better during fermentation. Avoid gripping the dough with your fingertips, as that can tear it. Instead, support it with the base of your thumbs. Repeat this motion about 20 times. Check the dough temperature. If it's 26 to 28 degrees, which is about 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, that's perfect. If the dough temperature is lower, the proofing will take longer. If it's higher, the dough will rise faster, so make sure to keep an eye on it. Once done, shape the dough into a smooth ball by tucking the edges underneath. Place it seam side down into a bowl. Cover with a damp towel or shower cap and let it rise in one place until it more than doubled in size. Depending on the temperature, this usually takes around 45 to 60 minutes in 36 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit proofer. Now the dough has expanded nicely. To check if it's ready, Lightly dust the surface of the dough with flour and perform the finger test. Gently poke the dough to the bottom. If the indentation stays and you can see small bubbles, it's ready. If it springs back, let it proof a little longer and test again. Now let's move on to pre-shaping. Apply a little amount of flour on the entire surface and gently press to release gas. Turn the dough onto your work surface, keeping the smooth side facing up. From now on, always try to keep the smooth surface on the outside during shaping, as this helps trap gas and gives a better finish. Measure the total weight of the dough, then shape it into an oval and divide it into 2 equal portions. Shape each piece into a tight ball by folding and tucking the edges underneath, keeping the smooth side on the outside and creating surface tension in the dough. Cover with a damp towel to prevent from drying out and let them rest for about 15 to 20 minutes to relax the gluten. While the dough rests, lightly spray the pan with oil or grease it with butter. Now that the dough has rested, when you gently press it with your finger, it should spring back slowly and leaves a slight indentation. That means it's ready for final shaping. Let's shape the dough. While working with one piece, keep the remaining dough covered with a damp towel. Lightly dust with flour and gently press to degas. Flip the dough so the seam side is facing up. Apply a little flour on the top and roll it out into a rectangle using a rolling pin. Be careful not to make it too thin. In this video, it's rolled to about 23 cm by 15 cm, which is about 9 by 6 inches. Pull the dough from the center to make it slightly more rectangular with defined corners. Spread half of the butter cubes evenly over the entire surface of the dough. Starting from the top, roll the dough while making sure no air gets trapped inside. After rolling, keep the corners slightly pointed and close the seam straight. Also pinch both ends firmly to seal them. Repeat the same process with the second piece of dough. Next, start rolling the first shaped dough into a log. The length should be about 1.5 times the long side of your loaf pan. When shaping, roll the dough with larger movements back and forth, and slightly press your palms against the work surface while moving your hands outward. This helps roll the dough out easily. If one side becomes thicker than the other, rotate the dough 180 degrees and continue stretching. If the dough resists and springs back, let it rest for about 5 minutes before continuing. Once both are long enough, place them seam side down and close them in the center. Twist each side twice, both toward the top and towards the bottom. Pinch both ends together. Place the dough into the loaf pan. At this point, tuck the ends slightly underneath so they don't come apart. Cover with plastic wrap or a shower cap and let the dough rise again in warm place at around 30 degrees, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, until it fills the pan. Preheat your oven to 190 degrees or 375 degrees Fahrenheit during final proof. Now dough has risen nicely. Place the butter cubes you set aside earlier on the top of the dough and bake for 20 to 25 minutes. In this video, I placed the loaf pan on a wire rack, but since butter can leak from the pan, I recommend placing it on a baking tray instead. If the top browns too quickly, you can cover it with aluminum foil or lower the temperature to 180 degrees about 10 minutes before the end. After baking, gently tap the pan to release excess steam and remove the bread. Be careful as the butter may leak out and can cause burns. While the bread is still hot, brush the melted butter over the entire surface of the loaf. Once the bread has completely cooled, lay it on its side and slice from the bottom corner. This way you can cut it nicely without squashing the loaf. This bread is soft and rich with buttery layers throughout. Please toast the slice of this bread, it's really delicious. Thank you for watching. I hope you try making this salt butter bread at home. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other recipes and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time and happy baking!